Air Gunner Bro. You guys, it's been a long while, but finally I have something a little bit relevant to the channel. Sorry about that. I have something a little bit relevant to the channel today. This is the Crosman Mark II target pellet pistol, and it is literally an antique. This was actually one of my grandfather's guns, and I was finally able to take apart the piercing cap here for the CO2, and one of the things I noticed was it had a plastic O-ring in there, and it still fits snug to the needle, but I was dealing with a lot of gas leaks. I also put a couple extra nitro O-rings in place in some different spots, like for example at the bottom and tops of the assembly here. But the biggest thing I think that made a difference was I put all around the center of the piercing pin some old lubricam. This was actually my other grandfather's. This was in the shed. Contains silicone, prolongs the life of breaker arms, rubber block, and cuts down on adjustments of controls, blah, blah, blah. So it's able to be used for rubber. So that's what I needed to know. And just testing a little blank fire here. See if you guys can see that. This thing has some serious amount of gas it releases. Don't want to do any live firing today. Wait till I get over to my dad's house for that. So, Air Gunner Bro, a little bit of a show on some upcoming target practice. So, it's been a long while, but brought you guys a little bit of something. This is a few blank fires in because I want to exhaust the CO2. I don't want to leave it sitting in here like this. But I just wanted to make sure it was going to seal because I basically spent about an hour trying to work on this again. So yeah, there's a big issue with it leaking in here. So you got to make sure there's some nice amount of grease in there. I also put some high pressure thread sealant on the threads when I rethreaded the little crown piece that goes in there. Right where the CO2 rests in, so that was taken care of. So, Air Gunner Bro, comment, rate, subscribe. Take care, y'all. Bye. This is Air Gunner Bro, showing you a little bit of the problems that I had with it, more or less. So this is the whole piercing assembly for the CO2. It has the actual CO2 pointing down. This is off the antique Mark II pellet pistol. So it's a target pistol. Also, Dad said it can be a good squirreling gun. But yeah, some of it has plastic O-rings. You can see that lower O-ring there is all plastic. I put a nitro one here, which really makes the threading pretty tight. And down in here, of course, if you can get the good angle right, down in there is the piercing pin, of course. This is the assembly where it would actually leak out. I have lubricam all in this, up and down the cylinder that the piercing pin rides in. The big issue I had was getting that press pin out, but I finally was able to use my punch and a hammer and get it out. Of course, I was careful, but I still had to apply enough force to get the job done. But it's all back together. As you can see, a little bit earlier it was working, but this assembly right here is a major leaking issue if you don't have enough of a seal in there, and that's where that lubricam, which is practically a grease, a silicone grease, really gets in there and really winds up sealing up that issue. I think that's what helped the most, because again, the piercing pin goes along a plastic O-ring, so you're going to need to be able to get something to give you a tight seal against that piercing pin. So that's where that again, lubricam really helps. So either way, Air Gunner Bro, comment or subscribe. Take care, y'all. Bye.